Please welcome Danica Roem and Ken Corbett.
So first off, congratulations on your historic victory. It's a considerable accomplishment.
Thank you so much, Ken.
For sure. So I wanted to start off by asking you to talk about the fact that Frank Bruni, which I imagine you know, in an op-ed in the New York Times, referred to you as boring. In fact, he said you were really, really boring. And he meant that as a compliment. And what he was referring to is that you campaigned as openly transgender, but your identity, and we might say identity politics, was not your mission. You went door to door. You stood on people's doorsteps wearing a rainbow scarf. I think there are lots of photographs of that available. But you were not there to talk about the rainbow. You were there to talk about traffic lights and failing education. Or failing schools. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about how you chose issue-oriented politics as opposed to the kind of narcissistic extravaganza that we now know to be American politics.
Well, all right, so to start with, I don't, like I told Jordan Klepper, I don't know at what point a transgender, metalhead, yogini, stepmom, journalist, vegetarian became boring in American culture. But I guess when she has Delegate next to her name, it's now apt, right? So the whole thing with the way that I kind of saw this is, first off, I'm a lifelong resident of the district I represent. I represent the people of the city of Manassas Park and the Prince William County portions of Manassas, where I live, along with Gainesville and Haymarket. And I covered, the stories of my community, my lifelong home community, for 9 years, 2 months, and 2 weeks as the lead reporter of the Gainesville Times from 2006 to 2015. So I had authored more than 2,500 news stories about the greater Prince William County area. And by the way, those are news stories based on vetted facts, not alternative facts. From neutral, disinterested third-party observers, as opposed to, oh my God, it's fake news. Like, no, I'm a reporter. Just answer my question. And the way that I saw this was campaigning is never about the candidate as much as it is about the constituents and what they can do, what that candidate can do for the constituents, can do for the community that they are running to represent. That community, whether it is your locality, like Prince William County in my case, or whether it is the United States of America, either way, you need to respect your constituents and put your constituents first. That's where politics has veered off course in many ways, but in the same time, maybe it's just that we're calling it for what it is now, where it's always been like that. There has always been people in office who will run for office and do something in office because it betters who they are, as opposed to betters their community. And I'm of the mindset that says that when I've got, Route 28 traffic congestion that's 30 years in the making, when I've got 3,700 of my constituents who are still uninsured because we haven't expanded Medicaid to people making less than $17,000 a year, even though they're earning up to 238% of the federal poverty line, then it's my job to take care of them. It's my job to campaign for them and with them, to serve them. And by the way, I represent people from all sorts of walks of life. Yes, I represent transgender people, and I need to take care of them too. Yes, I represent LGBT people, or LGBTQ people as a whole, and no matter what their healthcare needs are, I need to treat them based on their ability to follow their doctor's orders, not for, as the Republican Party, necessary liberal lifestyle choices. That's what they actually could consider transition-related health care. Tell that to the 3 doctors who treat me. I think my doctors know a little bit more about gender dysphoria than the Republican Party of Virginia's fundraising team. So the way I see it is LGBTQ people, we are part of our communities as well. Reporters are part of our communities. Stepmoms are part of our communities. We are all part of our communities, and that means that it's my job to reflect my community and, to work for kids who, are having trouble in school because, they don't know if they're going to be able to, stay in the country because of DACA, or, X, Y, or Z other issues. My job is to stand up for all my constituents, no matter what they look like, where they come from, how they worship, or who they love, because everyone in the 13th District and everyone in the Commonwealth of Virginia deserves to be respected, welcomed, protected, and just being able to enjoy their quality of life because of who they are, not despite it, and they should succeed because of who they are, not despite it.
So I wonder if the person who was your opponent may have made your life, I'm sure he did not make your life easier, but I wonder if he made campaigning easier, because I think he actually was engaged in a kind of identity politics. He refused to debate you. He refused to recognize you as transgender. He refused to use the pronoun her in relationship to you. And in a way, I think he tried to encourage voters to vote what I would say vote phobic. And you went in a very different direction. And I wonder what it was like to face that.
Well, on January 10th, Delegate Marshall became one of my constituents, and I don't attack my constituents. So I'm not going to say anything negative about him here. But what I will say, though, is that what I can do is speak to my, to how we ran our campaign. And we ran our campaign on shoe leather. We ran our campaign on wearing out the treads of your shoes, on knocking more than 75,000 doors, and unabashedly promoting an inclusive message where I said the whole campaign, I'm working to make Virginia a more inclusive Commonwealth. And, what I think part of that inclusion is, okay, if anyone who's in office is not taking care of their community, or if you've got major quality of life issues, like back home, it's traffic congestion. That's one of the biggest issues that affects thousands of my constituents every single day. Then the best contrast that I have with that is focusing on that issue and then giving the people who I'm running to represent a platform that says, this is how much my idea is going to cost, this is what's going to look like, this is how I'm going to pay for it, this is how I'm going to get it done, this is what the timeline's going to be, so that they can hold me accountable to the very things that I campaigned on. And that's what's important, is making sure that people, you don't just give them platitudes. You don't just give them mindless banter. You say, these are my plans. This is what I'm going to do about it. But Danica, it needs to be in a soundbite. I'll give you 2,400 words about what I want to do on traffic, jobs, schools, and health care. And if you've got a problem with it, then you don't live in my district.
Very good. All right. So I would ask you about your opponents, and I know you don't want to speak badly about him, but he did actually oppose the Virginia bathroom bill.
He authored it.
He authored it. All right. Well, he authored it. I know that you, in response, said that gender identity shouldn't necessarily be the focus of your campaign. But I have an idea you may have some ideas about the bathroom bill. I wonder
it's dead now, so
it's dead.
That's the best idea for it. And this year marked the first time in my memory, and it's been a pretty good while, I don't remember the last time this happened, where no legislator in the Virginia General Assembly introduced any anti-LGBTQ bills this year. And that's a large part because of people who showed up. Here's the thing. When you flip 15 of their seats, you have another one that comes down to a drawing out of a fishbowl, and literally, and you have two others that went to recount, and another one that was decided by less than 150 votes. At that point, people have to know, especially with the pro-equality governor and all statewide, office holders in Virginia, that any discriminatory legislation will be dead on arrival in the Virginia General Assembly. And you don't have to have a majority for that, but you do have to have a majority to get pro-equality legislation passed. And I think what's really really important right now for people to understand is, yes, it is progress, and do not mistake it. It is progress when bad things stop happening at the ratio that they were or at the frequency that they were. But if you want good things to happen and better things to happen, you have to continue to fight for it. You have to continue being engaged, and you have to continue making yourself vulnerable by entering the political arena in the first place, knowing fully well you could take the punch in the face, but then you get right back up and you keep championing that ideal, and you keep championing altruism, and you keep pushing for what your constituents and what the people who have sent you to elected government asked you to do in the first place.
Very good. Thank you so much. We have 11 seconds.
Let's do a quick fire. What you got for me?
What's going to help you more in the Senate, being a metalhead or a stepmom?
Or in the State House? Well, here's the thing. I would say that my years as a heavy metal vocalist has certainly helped me being on stage, commanding an audience. What's up, y'all? But in the Virginia General Assembly, learning patience as a stepmom has definitely been helpful.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you.